Good morning, everyone. My name is Priyamvada Thangala, and today I will be presenting my research on the economic implications of the growth of foreign luxury brands in India. My research explores how the expansion of foreign luxury brands into the Indian market is a product of the role of government and their policies and the shifting consumer dynamics in the country. I will also be exploring how the luxury brands have integrated themselves into the Indian market and what the future holds for them as the market nears saturation. This research holds significant importance to me for several reasons. Growing up in India, I have witnessed the rapid transformation of the consumer landscape, particularly within the increasing presence of foreign luxury brands. Observing these global brands having integrated into our economy and culture, while also shaping consumer behaviors, piqued my interest in studying the economic implications of what went into creating this phenomenon. So, the entry and expansion of foreign luxury brands into India represents a significant economic shift, driven by the rise of India's middle and upper middle class. This expansion wouldn't have been possible without the economic liberalization policies of the early 1900s, which opened India to global markets, making luxury goods more accessible to Indian consumers. The focus of my research was the following 3 points. One is the impact of economic liberalization on foreign luxury brands entering India. Two, the role of India's upper middle class in driving the demand for luxury products. And three, the current market scenario, including the near saturation of the market and the implications for future growth. Due to the complex ecosystem of the economy in India, there's an interplay between several factors that led to this phenomenon occurring. This includes the consumers, producers, and the governments having created a unique ecosystem which supports the growth of foreign investment. And I've chosen the foreign luxury brands as a case study to explore this further. Looking at the government policies, India's economic liberalization in the early 1900s was a turning point, as the government aimed to revitalize the stagnating economy by integrating it into global markets. They did this by reducing trade barriers and easing restrictions on foreign direct investment. By attracting foreign brands to India, it led to an increase in GDP and domestic growth. Foreign luxury brands in particular benefited from these policies. As trade barriers lowered, brands were able to sell their products to India's emerging middle and upper middle class, who now had the purchasing power to afford high-end goods. Domestic companies, on the other hand, also had to adopt to raising their standards to compete with foreign brands, creating a more dynamic and competitive marketplace. Along with trade liberalization, regulatory and taxation policies played a key role. For instance, the goods and services tax simplified the tax structure, making luxury products more affordable. The government also focused on creating an environment that encouraged consumer spending, which further boosted the luxury goods market. Import duties and FDI regulations. Adjustments in import duties have energized specific sectors, particularly the luxury market goods, by making foreign brands more accessible to Indian consumers. These adjustments are similar to how interest rate adjustments in other economies can stimulate or control economic growth. In 2019, India's FDI policy underwent a significant shift, with the government permitting 100% FDI investment in single brand retail under the automatic route. This policy change made it easier for luxury brands to enter and expand in the Indian market, leading to opening of flagship stores by brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Balenciaga in metropolitan cities. These policy adjustments allowed luxury brands to directly engage with consumers, creating a stronger connection with India's affluent population. Government initiatives. The government also interacted with the consumers and producers by pulling out a bunch of government initiatives to increase the investment by foreign brands. Investment projects such as the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor have been crucial in enhancing logistics and distribution for luxury brands, allowing them to reach more consumers across India. Improved infrastructure also helps brands establish physical stores in high-demand areas, making luxury goods more accessible. By making the luxury goods more accessible, the brands were also playing into the impulse buying sector of their purchases. The government's focus on skill development through programs like the Skill India mission has created a more educated workforce, which is essential for the luxury market goods. Additionally, employment generation schemes have helped raise living standards, indirectly increasing disposable income and fueling the demand for luxury products. The government has also supported entrepreneurship, encouraging local production and designs that complements foreign brands. For instance, the promotion of local artisans and collaboration with foreign brands helps integrate Indian craftsmanship into luxury goods. Producers/foreign brand perspective. For foreign luxury brands, establishing a presence in the Indian market enhances their global image, allowing them to tap into a rapidly growing market. India is seen as a key platform for strategic growth due to its affluent consumer base and rising disposable income. Brands use market segmentation strategies to target specific consumer groups, such as the TAM-SAM-SOM analysis as seen on the screen. By focusing on affluent segments and regions, brands can maximize their market share and profitability. Many foreign brands have successfully adapted to Indian tastes and preferences by incorporating local aesthetics into their products. For example, Dior's product lines, inspired by Indian designers and craftsmanship, have resonated with consumers, demonstrating how localization can enhance brand loyalty in a specific market. Coming to the consumer's perspective, the rise of India's upper middle class has been a driving force behind the demand for luxury goods. With more disposable income, consumers are increasingly seeking out luxury brands to enhance their lifestyle and status. Exposure to global trends through media, films, and social media platforms has shifted consumer behavior, particularly among younger generations. Luxury goods are no longer just a status symbol, but are seen as a form of personal expression and alignment with global trends. Especially looking at the younger consumers aged between 25 to 40, who are more open to luxury consumptions than previous generations. Their purchasing decisions are influenced by social media, celebrity endorsements, and a desire to stand out in a globalized world. Coming to the conclusion, the Indian market is approaching saturation with the amount of foreign luxury brands in the market. This poses a challenge for brands seeking further growth. However, this also creates opportunities for brands to innovate and focus on sustainability, quality, and ethical production. Some strategies for future growth that brands could employ is to develop more customer engagement, such as leveraging digital platforms, offering personalized services, and promoting sustainability. Additionally, they need to continue adapting to changing consumer behavior, particularly as digital transformation reshapes the way luxury goods are marketed and consumed. In the future, the success of luxury brands in India will depend on how well they can align with the country's evolving economic and social landscape. By embracing sustainability and fostering deeper connections with Indian consumers, luxury brands can maintain their foothold in this competitive market. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Really fascinating. I was actually, oddly enough, I was in India for about 2.5 weeks, just recently. So that was my first ever trip to India, and I got a chance to go to a couple of malls that you know had luxury goods, and
Yeah.
so got to see firsthand sort of this the economic implications of this foreign luxury brands that are in India. So um, audience, feel free to jump in with questions in the Q&A. I did have a couple of questions that I wrote down here.
Yes.
One Question one that I had was, how have changes in consumer behavior among India's upper middle class affected the success of foreign luxury brands?
Yes, so increasingly the upper middle class has been of a younger demographic, because looking at the previous generation, a lot of them didn't have the formal education beyond high school diplomas. But the generation of the workforce right now has had the opportunity to get formal education at universities, or even have gone abroad for education and come back and are working in India. Because of the higher education that they have, they're obviously being employed by MNCs operating in India, being offered the salaries competitive to what people abroad are being offered. And so the upper middle class right now has a much younger demographic who are more
Mm,
informed of global trends and social media, which contributes to the success of luxury brands.
that's great. Um, I have one more question, then there's a question from the audience here. But you mentioned something, and I caught this about midway through your presentation, where you said India craftsmanship in luxury goods.
Yes.
Um, so I didn't quite catch the whole context there, but does this mean that foreign luxury brands need to adopt India's aesthetics, or is this something where they don't necessarily have to have localization strategies to sort of connect with the India market? Hopefully, my question makes sense there, but
Yes. Yeah, no, that
okay.
makes total sense. I think yeah, I was trying to say that due to the saturation of the amount of foreign luxury brands available in India, the only way one can differentiate themselves from everyone else is to appeal to the local tastes of the market. And this has been done by Dior recently, about a year ago, in their spring summer collection, where they collaborated with Indian artisans, and they came up with a whole collection just for the Indian market, which they ended up releasing abroad as well, and it became one of their best-selling collections.
Wow.
So that's just a case study of how brands can differentiate themselves going forward to maintain a competitive edge in the market.
That's fantastic. And then this actually is related to the question asked by the audience, but have you been impressed with any particular brand's marketing strategy? I think you mentioned one brand. Are there other brands that have done a really good job of either localization or localizing to the
Mhm.
India market, or just had success with their brand in the India market?
Yes, I think one other brand which has done something very similar to this is Bulgari, who have come out with a range of jewelry specifically for the Indian market. There's some traditional pieces of jewelry like the Mangal Sutra, which is worn by married women in India, and
Mhm.
also the Kada, which is worn by men in India. So they came out with these pieces specifically for the Indian market, to target that audience. And also, I think a lot of the Louis Vuitton and Gucci, all these brands have been going for brand ambassadors of Indian origin, especially to pull the market from India, which is also a very good strategy, I think, as the people they're seeing are people whose journeys the Indian market has witnessed for a long time. And so they have a more personal connect with these brands because of that.